Hello everyone and welcome to a game called Exorcize Me. This is a visual novel. I'm excited to play. Let's go ahead and start a new game. This game contains attractive men, women, a big church, and a forbidden romance in the janitor's closet. This game also contains light body horror, a terrible priest, the terrible surgeons, and gaslighting. Would you like to view the spoiler content warnings? I'll do it on behalf. It also contains themes of homophobia, conformity, heavy religious abuse, and loss of identity. I will say that if you're comfortable with religious themes, do take caution with this. And if you're not one for a critique of religion, you're not going to have too much fun with this one. Reader discretion is advised. Now, dear reader, let's begin our descent into madness and religious talk, which is one of my favorite conversations. Who are you? No, really. Who are we as people? I really do hate to get this philosophical, but it must be done. For without this knowledge, the story to come won't make much sense at all. Are we the labels forced onto us from birth? Are we our beliefs, hopes, experiences? It really is impossible to condense our entire being into one arbitrary idea. Hence why the self is as an amalgamation of all of those things. It is a common belief that the self resides within a person's soul. But that's quite the laughable belief. Where even would the soul be? Our hearts? No, the self resides not in the soul or heart, but rather in the pinkish gray, wrinkly mass of tissue known as the brain. Yes, I know. It's an answer that doesn't fulfill our fantastical desires we hold. But it's true. That brain looks evil for some reason. For when something is deemed wrong with yourself, it isn't the heart that's tampered with, but rather the brain falls victim to that tampering. Clarence, what's with the wrong face? You know why? Oh, can it now? This really isn't the way I'd like to spend my Sunday morning, you know? I'd rather have a beer with the boys. Well, this isn't how I want to spend mine either, for your information. I guess I'll leave it here. You should have thought about that before going off like you did. You bite your tongue. No amount of complaining will change her mind. Besides, it's not like you could just run out. It's not like you could just run out through the massive doorway you entered from. Although, that wouldn't exactly remedy the problem that you have, if you could even call it that. Look, Clarence, this isn't just going to help you, it's going to help all of us. It would be quite selfish of you not to go through with it. That selfishness doesn't matter now, though. It'll be gone once this demon is ripped out of you. Guess I'd better get on with it when I want to be selfish or anything like that. That's the worst thing anyone could be, you know. Although, maybe I wouldn't be so apprehensive about this if they had just told me what the heck exorcising a demon entails. You should probably chat with some of the guests here. Perhaps they could tell you a bit about what's going to happen. You're practically an adult by now. There's no reason why you have to hide something so benevolent from you. Now, what is this feeble attempt at escaping? Do you really think that you can get out of this? Yes. Oh man, I guess I'm stuck in this beautifully crafted and designed game. Wow, darn, that sucks, man. you're pretty sure that this woman is an aunt. Though that doesn't really narrow down the list of who this is. You've too many aunts to keep count. Aw, Clarence, look at how you've grown. Hello, aunt. The memory of her name evades you. She had the courtesy to remember your name, and yet you couldn't even return the favor. I'm Aunt Tia. You don't remember me. You were just a baby the last time I saw you. Tia, that's aunt. Tia is aunt in Spanish. And I will reiterate that you've grown so much. Soon you're going to be snatching up all the women at college. I will say, though, you ought to do something about that hair. It's not very fitting for a strapping lad, now is it? Guess that I can't be too surprised that that's what she thinks. So, Aunt Tia, are you looking forward to the grand event? You internally cringe upon hearing herself describe the event in such a manner. You already know that, yes, she is indeed excited for this event. But maybe she heard from your mother about what's going to happen? Why, of course I'm excited for this, Clarence. You haven't a clue how happy I am for you. This illness plaguing you will be gone, just like that. I beg your pardon? I'm suffering an illness I don't know of? You hope to Divinity that she says something along the lines of, well, you actually have this rare illness that we're not actually here to do what you think. This virus is going to kill you, and don't worry, because with the power of medicine, we'll help you. And then it'll be like none of this ever happened. Hip hip hooray! Oh my god, malware bites. Get out of here. But of course, the words that pop out of her mouth contradict this fantasy. Clarence, don't act like you don't know. The hair was already enough, Clarence. It's obvious to everyone. And what your mommy told me about was the icing on the cake. So be a good lad, and you should have been, and get on with this. Okay. Am I gay? You have no clue who this man is. The only words that come to your mind when attempting to describe him are manly, badass, and erotic. Manly, badass hero, you're here? You're pretty sure that he isn't related to you. But I guess that's the thing about churches. Any random person can come and go as they please. The man points a mirror in your direction. It's you! You look so good. You tempted to thank him, but you wouldn't know what to say. Manly Hada Zero, you're my hugest... Useless! Huh? You're my hugest inspiration. The man points a mirror in your direction. It's you. You look good. You're tempted to thank him, but you wouldn't know what to say. Manly, I love you. You're my hugest inspiration. Thank you for existing, Manly. It's one of your many uncles is the father of your little cousin Samuel. He is like most husbands in Libretto City. He beats his wife, gets so drunk he forgets his own name, sleeps with other people behind his wife's back. Tried to get his son and wife lobotomized, and to top it all off, he goes to church each Sunday without fail. Not without dragging his wife and atheist son along behind him. He's pretty happy that you're finally doing what's right for the family. Ugh, what's right for this freaking family? Doesn't sound like family to me. Your relatives have a knack for bringing their pets everywhere they go. This includes more exotic pets, like a hawk. Strangely enough, though, this hawk is green. You've never seen a green hawk before. It opens its beak to speak in caws and screeches. Love isn't something you just let go of, hawk, said the... Now wait a damn minute, who trained this hawk to talk? It's a parrot, bro. Something about this person is so familiar. Wait, couldn't that be him? Hey Ash, who? It isn't him. Clarence, what did you say? Oh, it was nothing. Yeah, I'm gay and people think I'm possessed by a demon. The cousin rolls his eyes and gets back to standing. Standing with apathy plastered all over his face, a slight tinge of annoyance visible. You decide to leave him alone. It would make things awkward if you stayed too long. Seems like one of your relatives brought a little cat with a dapper top hat. Its tail is moving like a pendulum of a clock. This is the best character in this game, minus Manly Battle of course. Ah, it's your little cousin Samuel. You haven't seen him in quite some time, even though the two of you were glued to the hip a few years ago. You wonder what he's going to think about you needing this exorcism. You brace yourself for the disappointment. How could my older cousin, who I look up to, be so scandalous? Then you're pretty sure it will be followed by a, but he's doing the right thing by getting the demon exorcised. Ah, Clarence, long time no see. How have you been? I've certainly seen better days, Sam. What about you? You're in high school now, right? High school's okay. I guess that you could say that I've also seen better days. The silence hangs in the air for a good while as the two of you stew in misery. I guess that it isn't going so well for either of us, huh? Clarence, I know that this entire family reunion thing is about you or something, so I'm sorry if it sounds selfish for me to ask you something. Samuel, don't be sorry. It isn't your fault that Mother dragged us all here to get a demon out of me. I really don't want to be here for whatever they do to me. I'd rather help you, if I'm being honest. Promise me you won't tell my mom? You nod your head in affirmation. There's this classmate, a friend actually. Because of how many classes we have in common, we begin to speak to each other, and we've been speaking more now. And at first I felt like it was all normal, just two people hanging out with each other, nothing more. There's a but to this story, isn't it? Do you know what it's like to look at someone and feel this pounding in your chest? Like your heart's going to run into their arms if you don't stop looking at them? And then you can't stop because that person is your future. Or who you see spending a good chunk of your life with. And then you just want to know them as something so much more than a friend. Personally, I believe that you should ask her out. You're going to regret it if you don't take that chance with her now. But Clarence, they're not. Samuel's lips hover by your ear and he begins to whisper. Clarence, he's a boy. He's as much a boy as either of us, and these feelings, shouldn't I be having them for a girl? You pause, attempting to think through what to do. Sam, let's go somewhere a bit more private. You make sure that no one else is too close. You wouldn't want anyone to eavesdrop on this. Lest Samuel ended up in the same position as you. Samuel began to elaborate in a blubbering tone. Clarence, what's wrong with me? I'm not supposed to feel this way towards my best mate. Samuel, there's everything wrong with it. What's my mother gonna say? What's my mate going to say if he finds out? Although you know the truth about what would happen, you decide that clarifying that wouldn't be the most comforting. Clarence, you and Asher were best mates, right? I need you to tell me how I should be feeling towards my mate. Look, I can't exactly do that. I can't change the way you view your friend by telling you how I view Asher. But why? Maybe if you tell me, I could sort of force my mind back to normal. I don't know. I'm desperate for any solution. I guess get exercise, bro. I don't know. I can't tell you about that because Asher and I were... You can't bring yourself to say it, even if you know that it could comfort Samuel. Asher and I, best mates? There's no way in hell that she said that. That's exactly what she said. You go with that lad one more time, and you'll never see the light of day again. And yet here you are. With that lad she speaks of. Quite the rebellious streak you're going through, Clarence. Asher, You're quite the bad influence on me. So I am so bad. I mean, all that I did was take you out without our parents' knowledge, and let's not even talk about how I got you to kiss me. Alright, hearing that is pretty damn bad, but at least we haven't done anything scandalous yet. I think that you're ignoring the fact that if anyone so much as saw us, that would result in the next big controversy in the paper. Okay, you got me. I didn't quite think that through. Generally speaking, Asher wouldn't behave in this somewhat immature manner. He always held a calm, composed demeanor fitting for a future detective. You know, that he reserved this playful persona just for you. And its energy is contagious. You begin to stifle some laughter as you move closer to him. Looking at him is like staring at a vignette. A vignette? Frozen in time, with nothing in focus except for him. It's almost as if every single pesky problem of yours melted away in that very moment. I really, really want to kiss you now. And then why don't you? It's not like it'll get as hectic as last time. The last time. The last time the two of you who got this close to was in the janitor's closet at school. How romantic. Privacy for the two of you is the ultimate luxury. You're hidden away from the critical eyes of the masses. Of course, it was just your luck that the janitor needed to retrieve a mop from the closet. And you had a very unpleasant time explaining to the janitor how you had no clue how you ended up in the closet with your best mate. Clarence, what is this? You know why we can't do that here. Why I can't do it. Asher tries to lighten the mood for a bit. Well, you've already broken half your mom's rules by being with me. Well, why not give it the extra mile, you know? You know me. I'm nowhere near as brave as you. I wouldn't exactly call myself brave. I don't blame you, Clarence. I want you to know that I get it. You know how my old man is all gung-ho about masculinity and all that? I think that your mom would be even worse than my father about that kind of thing. It's just that, keeping us a secret even when our families aren't around. It's so exhausting. You're struggling too, aren't you? What makes you say that? You were struggling to not kiss me. Alright, you got me there. How about this? We find somewhere where we can be us, without having to worry about our families. Aw, you telling me that the inside of the janitor's closet doesn't count? It's almost the perfect place for hopeless romantics like us. The only problem would be how quickly the janitor found us. So just be glad that the janitor didn't tell anyone. Of course I am. I wouldn't want to be married off because someone tattled on us. Now, wouldn't that be a terrible way for this to end? As you think about Asher, you begin to realize that you never got the chance to tell him about this little ordeal you're in. Maybe it's better that he doesn't know. He'd probably blame himself for this. Someone saw the two of us together and they clearly saw through our platonic act. Of course, being physically close to someone isn't the best way to act platonic. Even if it is a little hard to understand why holding hands is always viewed as romantic. You continue to ruminate in your thoughts, forgetting that Samuel is there. Clarence, is everything alright with you? Oh, yes. About your feelings and all, I think your words are interrupted by someone's arrival. Her face holds a level of smugness that pisses you the hell off. Clarence, I think that I'm just going to go now. And with that said, Samuel disappeared for the massive church doors. Poor Fang already has to deal with his mother fighting against his drunk father. Wouldn't want him to listen to your interactions with this B word. Well, now, what are you doing here? The words slide right off her tongue, almost as she genuinely hadn't the faintest clue as to why you're here. Hello, Adalia. You don't have anything to say to me. You spoke so much with that cousin. What? Do you have more in common with him than with me? It's of no concern to you. You haven't the faintest clue as to why the hell Adelaide Hollows is here. Adalia. To your knowledge, you aren't related to her in any way. It isn't like that matters, though. Family or not, she's always been rather insufferable. Clearly, she's here to throw salt in your wounds. How's Asher doing? Like you'd actually care. If you're so interested in Asher, why are you asking me? The two of you are so damn close. I bet she's the one who reported it, too. I figured that you know every little thing about him. For someone so head over heels for him, you don't seem to want to speak to him. Do I really have a choice? You practically hoard whatever time he isn't spending on work. It isn't like I want to be a nuisance to my beloved, but that would make for a terrible impression. You feel the bile clawing its way up the back of your throat. Adalia Hollows wishes for the whole damn world to know that she is betrothed to Asher Cypress. The idea makes you cringe. She's become Adalia Cypress. If you wanted to speak to her, she'd probably insist that you call her Miss Cypress. Miss Cypress this, Miss Cypress that. Gosh darn, Miss Cypress. At this point, it's like she's dangling Asher's love over your head. You can't even say anything about it. Adalia would almost certainly humiliate you if you did. But what are you meant to do? Grin and bear it? Alright, you've been doing this your whole life. Surely you'll be able to do it this one time. What's the matter, Clarence? Cat got your tongue? Or could it be? Adalia, for once in her god-forsaken life, hushes her voice. Maybe, just maybe, she doesn't want to humiliate you. After all, it's a habit of hers to broadcast her words to all those in the vicinity. And now would be the perfect time to do that. A spacious church would disperse her message to all in the building. She leans in closely. Could it be that you're just jealous? Jealous? What do you mean jealous? Dread creeps up your spine. Does she know? You hope to Divinity that she doesn't. Not that Divinity would have listened to you anyways. After all, you're gay. God doesn't listen to gay people. If Divinity hates people like you so much, there isn't any reason as to why they would heed your pleas. By the way, Mother Charity wants to see you right now. And don't look at me like that. You know that all of this is your own doing. Adalia mutters something under her breath as she exchanges a final glare with you. Something tells you that you don't want to know what she said. In your mind, you quickly piece together why she's being much smugger than usual. What the hell is her deal? She's already betrothed to Asher. She already has him all to herself. If she really wanted that badly, she could have just said the word and they'd be married. Sometimes you don't understand the ways in which people view love. You'd like to believe that you're not, like Adalia, completely obsessed with Asher. But now that you think about it, perhaps it seems that way to others. Divinity forbid two young men to hold hands or tease each other. Alas, You probably should heed Adelia's words and see Mother Charity. Mother Charity? No, I can't escape still. Can I say hello to everyone else? She eyes your hair with a nasty sneer. You like to think she's jealous, but if it wasn't already obvious, she isn't. You wonder what it would be like if you were a woman. The standard that women are held to includes long, luscious locks just like yours. So maybe if you weren't a man, she wouldn't have a problem with your hair. Of course, there is the off chance that she'd actually be jealous if you were a woman, but you've always been the type to be flattered by jealousy. Yeah, if someone's jealous of you, just be flattered by it. That's a good way to look at it, actually. You're pretty sure that she wants you to just rip your hair out already. Can't even say anything to that guy. Manly, I'm gonna say hi to you one more time. Useless! Huh? Yeah, this whole exorcism thing is useless. You're right, Manly. Manly has always been right. Glued to Mother's face is a frown. She's probably thinking about how much of an inconvenience it is that you're even here. Inconvenience. Oh, go on, Clarence. Go on with your day so we can all get this over with. Mother Charity begins to speak with you. Unholy One, Divinity requires a task from you. For the ritual to commence, you must light all the candles. Mother Charity bestows upon you a holy lighter. Got a lighter? Halt your movement for a moment. Divinity's love is inevitable, and if you think you can escape it, you're sorely mistaken. You can't help but wonder what benevolent deity's love would be inevitable. Something about their love cleansing you regardless of your desire rubs you the wrong way. Run along now. Go off and light the candles. Press enter. Try again. Oh man, I missed it. You wonder why you, of all people, must light the candles. Wouldn't it have been much easier if the candles were already lit? Someone took the time to arrange the candles. Couldn't they have also lit them? This feels more like a satanic ritual than a god ritual. I mean, people light candles to talk to God or divinity or whatever, right? Okay. Look at my candle lighting skills. Maybe the ritual's participant is supposed to light the candles as a way of submission to divinity. After all, now Mother Charity can say that you were compliant with the ritual, seeing as how you helped set it up. Okay, here we go. Light the candle. Glued to Mother's face is a frown. Okay, whatever, Mom. Go along now, Unholy One, light the candles. I lit the candles. Is there any other candles? Oh, I'll have to light these candles. I see. Lots of candles you got out here. You think about how Mother Charity and that divinity holds unconditional love for all humans. Of course, the unconditional part has always been up for debate. A lot of people feel like that. Apparently, in order to be worthy of divinity's love, you must follow all the rules laid out in a little book. So much for unconditional love. I mean, you can still love everybody, but still hold them to standards, I guess. And it does say in the word in the Bible that a path towards eternal life is a straight and narrow one. Uh, or something like that. Who knows? I guess the Bible knows. Or something. There are so many rules in the little book about who you are allowed to love and who you aren't. If you were to use that book to help find a lover, it would be almost impossible to do so. The more you think about it, the more you think about that little book just wants to make you love Divinity romantically. Mother Charity has never had a lover. She always finds something in people that's not up to code with what the book says. But she sure as hell loves Divinity. Everything is in Divinity's will, she always says. You're pretty sure that all of her behavior aligns perfectly with what that book says would be the ideal human, which includes bending yourself and other people backwards for deity you can't approve the existence of. At this rate, you're gonna snap in half for Divinity. Yeah, I guess we can't prove the existence of God, but he wants us to believe anyway. That's what faith is all about. That should be all of the candles. Ugh. Guess I should speak to Mother Charity again and start the ritual. Mother Charity, what's up? Is there like a Divinity son that dies for my homosexuality in this game? You completed the task. Yes, all the candles have been lit. Come now, let's commence the ritual. Are you ready to start the ritual? You won't be able to go back once you start it. I need to do something first. Know this, unholy one. Divinity's love is inevitable. You will be cleansed, whether your devilish tendencies comply with it or not. I am one with the devil. No, I'm empty like my soul. Wait, he had another thing to say. A man appears to be holding a cup of coffee, but there appears to be no liquid inside. It's empty like my soul. Thank you, Manly. You are a blessing. Manly is a blessing to YouTube and to Divinity. Are you gonna say anything about this guy? No. Alright, I'll cleanse myself of the unholy ways that I am. Let's get on with it. It seems like you're already taking on Divinity's love. It isn't exactly like you have much to say in the matter. Before the ritual, drink this. Mother Charity hands you a vial of clear liquid. For some reason, the appearance reminds you of a disgustingly bitter medicine. What is this? I should have known that you would resist. I just wish to know if this liquid is... You struggle to conjure up the words to both appease her and obtain an answer. It is Divinity's will for you to drink that. They told me so. In order for the ritual to work, this vial must be consumed by you. Is it holy water? But it is in the Mother's Charity's will for you to shut the frick up and drink the drug she put in this alcohol. To put it nicely, the drink tastes like a teenager's horrible attempt at creating lean. The chemicals burn your taste buds. It wasn't Divinity's will to shove questionable chemicals into your system. In spite of your revulsion, Mother Chastity seems quite pleased. Now, come now, a cleansed spirit awaits you. You stand in the center of the 6 candles. After everything, you still haven't a clue as to what Mother Charity is going to do to you. You hope that she simply chants a few prayers and calls it a day. It is how she solves every other problem that falls upon people, after all. Children of Divinity. For a split second, you're taken aback to the Sunday Mass of your youth. Mother Charity always spoke in a thunderous voice like that. We are here for a momentous occasion, children. We are here to help enlighten this confused child. Your face begins to feel hot with mortification. It's already been drilled into your head that this isn't really you. This is just a you that doesn't know what the hell you're doing. There's absolutely no need to further humiliate you. Unless the humiliation is meant to exorcise the demon out of you. This young one has rebelled against Divinity's will, therefore we can only come to one conclusion. A demon runs rampant in his soul. I hold his soul with the foul claws of evil. But fear not, children, for he has not been so consumed by evil that the damage is irreversible. Today, he will learn of the true extent of Divinity's love, and that love will exorcise the demon out of him. Now, children, pray for him. Pray that we tear the demon out of him, and pray that in a good soul remains. The people hold their hands in devout prayer. It's almost like they're in a drug-induced trance. If in any other situation, this would almost be beautiful. A congregation of people peacefully banding together in support of a loved one. Of course, though, you struggle to see the beauty in it. Maybe, just maybe, you see the beauty in it after the completion of the ritual? I mean, who are you to think that you know what's best for you, right? If it weren't for your irresponsible decisions, you wouldn't even be here in the first place, right? And even then you would have ended up here. What kind of fantasy did you reside in? Where did you think you and Asher would go to be free? The people finished praying and turned their burning gaze towards you. This is it. You're going to be everything that people want out of you. You'll love who you're meant to love. You'll be free. Free of all the constraints placed upon you just for something so trivial as romance. In these moments, however, you wonder if it really is your fault. The constraints placed upon you, were they really your fault? Maybe if yourself weren't so tainted and you wouldn't even be chained to these restrictions. Your vision goes dark. The body is limp. The numbness, it hurts strangely enough. It's so cold that it almost burns. Wait, this isn't right. Vision slowly returns. Your eyes feel both numb and like something is squeezing them. I knew they drugged me. They're gonna do a lobotomy. Wasn't there supposed to be some kind of ritual? When did they say anything about wait? His eyes are glued shut. Nothing that the surgeons do to him invoke a reaction. Almost as if he's sedated. And then it hits you. That's your body. Where are you? How are you not in your body? This doesn't make any damn sense. Mother Charity always said that surgery was against Divinity's will. So then, what is this? Oh, we know this is a cult now if they're preventing people from getting medical treatment and having surgeries and stuff. I mean, a lobotomy, though, that is unethical. Before you can elaborate on your thoughts, something sharp probes at your... Yeah, an ice pick lobotomy. Yeah, I remember. I did a whole entire presentation on this when I was in college. I traumatized my presentation class by showing them an actual video of someone getting an ice pick lobotomy without putting a discretion before I showed the video. So, yeah, I kind of screwed that one up, I think. I didn't tell anyone I was showing them that. And I was just like, hey, check this out. And then, I was like, oh man. Afterwards, I was just like, oh no, maybe I should have put a discretion in there that I was going to show that someone getting a ice pick lobotomy. Oh, uh-oh. My bad. Sorry, guys. I traumatized you. Sorry, I didn't mean to. What would happen if that fleshy mass in my head were to be tampered with? What if scalpels tore it apart in such a way that it doesn't render your body useless? Something snapped away from him in that very moment. So yeah, so basically they put an ice pick in your eye, like move it aside, and they sever the prefrontal cortex, I believe. And then, makes everything better. That's what people did back then when people had, shell shock. People that came back from war with PTSD, shell shock. And, like, I think, I don't know the percentage, I think only like 30% of the lobotomized were successful, and the rest of them were not, essentially. Something snapped away from him in that very moment. Something very important. Once it's gone, it'll never be returned. And if some part of it remains, it'll never be the same. Clarence Amado graduated from law school with flying colors. His professors praised how focused he was. It was almost as if he had no life outside of classes. He was perfect in their eyes, and he was perfect in the eyes of his family. Thank Divinity that you're blessed with this wonderful child, people would always say to his mother. Some would also say, goodness, the treatment worked wonders on him. Clarence hadn't a clue as to what they were talking about. Of course, he didn't care to ask what they meant by that. He wasn't supposed to question it. But he was content with being perfect. Absolutely positively perfect. Exactly as a young man like him should be, right? Obviously, Clarence had to enter the workforce. What kind of man would he be if he didn't? So he joined the 13th precinct of Libretto City. The precinct was always looking for new talent due to how understaffed they were. Clarence didn't care much for detective work. True, he was detached enough from his surroundings to be able to stomach the violence involved in the field, but that same detachment was exactly why Clarence didn't truly give a damn. He was just there for the paycheck. When Clarence entered the office, there were a couple of detectives all chatting with each other while sipping scalding coffee. One of them glanced at Clarence. This detective had deep brown hair, ivory skin, and emerald green eyes. Clarence felt an odd sense of familiarity, even though he had never seen this person before. The detective took a quick glance at Clarence, and it seemed like that would be it. And then he looked at Clarence again, this time with a surprised look. Clarence could have sworn that this young man was going to spit out his coffee with that look on his face. The young detective nearly spilled his coffee while getting up from his seat, as his coworkers looked at him with absolute bewilderment. Thankfully, he didn't make an absolute mess. Clarence, is that really you? I haven't seen you in so long. I thought that something happened to you. Do I know you? The stranger gawked at Clarence with confusion and disappointment. Clarence? Clarence had absolutely no idea how this man knew his name. Neither of the men wore name tags, and this was Clarence's first day in the office. The stranger held his head low, like a child who had been scolded by his parents. Clarence's eyes were caught by the contents of the stranger's desk. A photo of the stranger and a strawberry blonde woman was held in the wooden frame. It appeared to be a wedding photo. The stranger's face looked absolutely miserable in the photo. A slight frown was glued to his face. However, Clarence couldn't tell for certain if the marriage was arranged or not. The stranger looked so miserable that he must have been forced into this marriage. It was the very first time Clarence had ever seen a man unsatisfied with what might be an arranged marriage. But the woman's pose and countenance conveyed a completely different story. Countenance? How could a man not be happy with a wife like that, Clarence thought. Clarence eventually found out that this stranger was named Asher Cypress. He was supposedly the top detective in the precinct, having cracked the most high-profile cases in Libretto City. Clarence had heard the name before in the morning paper. He expected Asher Cypress to be a cold, stoic figure. How else could one manage the gore seen on the jobs? Clarence sure as hell didn't think that this chatty young man was the Asher Cypress. Whenever Clarence so much as walked outside of the room, Asher would drop whatever he was doing and begin to chat with Clarence. Asher would ask stupid things like, "Did I do something, Clarence?" Clarence figured that it was self-explanatory as to why he gave Asher the cold shoulder. Clarence had no idea what the hell was Asher's deal. Asher acted like he and Clarence were close friends, even though they had never seen each other. And in the back of Clarence's mind, he couldn't help but feel that Asher viewed them as something much more. Much, much more than friends, let alone acquaintances. And a torn self. Okay, guys, I don't like speaking on politics, but I do like speaking on religion. And I feel like a lot of people have put politics with religion, and God says that that is a work of false prophets. That is the work of false prophets that can lead his people to destruction. So, I wanted to share good news with you. That's what I want to do. This is one of my favorite, kind of chapters from Galatians, or maybe a couple verses here. But I just want you guys to know. I'm just going to read this real quick. It's Galatians 3:23, I think, to 3:29. Now before faith came, we were imprisoned and guarded under the law until faith would be revealed. Therefore the law was our disciplinarian until Christ came, so that we might be reckoned as righteous by faith. But now that faith has come, we are no longer subject to a disciplinarian. For in Christ Jesus you are all children of God through faith. As many of you as were baptized into Christ have clothed yourself with Christ. There is no longer Jew or Greek. There is no longer slave or free. There is no longer male and female. For all of you are one in Jesus Christ. And if you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's offspring, heirs according to the promise. So, my point is this. Heirs, as long as they are minors, are no better than those who are enslaved, though they are owners of all the property, but they remain under guardians and trustees until this date set by the Father. So with us, while we were minors, we were enslaved to the elemental principles of the world. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent his Son, born of woman, born under the law, in order to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption as children. And because you are children, God has sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. So you are no longer a slave, but a child, and if a child, then also a heir through God. That is good news for us, because the Bible is rescinding some stuff. It's like, you were once under this authoritarian law, but Jesus has come down to forgive us of all our sins and such. And if you are loving as God calls us to be, as loving as Jesus calls us to be, then perhaps then that is what people need to do. I feel lost without the word sometimes, so that's just my personal belief. But that's one of my favorite things to share with people, because it kind of unites people, and it unites us all, really. It puts us under God's protection. It makes us heirs to our riches in heaven. And Jesus does have this line where he's just like, well, to enter the kingdom of heaven through God, we have to walk the straight and narrow path. It's a straight and narrow path you have to walk. And of course, that requires a lot of discipline and sacrifice and not falling into temptations of the world. But, I mean, God wants us to ultimately believe in Him, believe in His love, believe in His faith towards us, and He wants us to get to know Him in a way. So that's why I wanted to share that with you, because I feel like if you got to know God, then you get to know yourself more, and then you get to figure out what that path is for you, your righteous path, what that is set for you. So that's something I want to share, especially after a heavy topic like this. So I also have something to say about the lobotomy. Because, I don't know, God created your brain. He has an intelligent design. He created it. To have someone just sever your cortex or, tamper with it in that way, it's like, feels like something God probably wouldn't have wanted. Even back then, like, they were experiencing shell shock and PTSD and all these things. Some people might have been helped, but a lot of people were really not, and they got worse because of the treatment. I wonder what would happen if they would have continued to go through those things that they were going through, but they didn't tamper with their mind, I wonder what would have happened, because I don't think it would have been chaotic. I think it would have been maybe better for them. But alas, that is history. And I guess there's people who go through therapy that, like, encourages people to turn from homosexuality into heterosexuality. I don't know. I feel like if you want to do something like that, it should be your choice to do something like that. No one should force you into that. Because if they're trying to force you to become something that you're not in that moment, that they don't really truly love you, do they? They just want what they feel is best for you. And that's not love, because that's enforcing something upon you. So that's what I believe too. I'm not saying, and I do not agree with people who use like rituals or anything like that. I think that is blasphemy to God. People who are, abused in those situations, people who are like awful to people just because they are, they are not who they want them to be, I guess. Like, that is not something God would have wanted. God doesn't want that for you. God doesn't want you to be in a situation where you're being drawn away from Him. God doesn't want you to be in a situation where you're being abused or pushed off. This is why a lot of people turn away from God, is because the people who believe in God are, like, insufferable assholes sometimes. Let's just be honest. They use God's holy wisdom, they use God's Bible, they use, their status or whatever they got to like walk through life and think that they're better than everybody and have no questions. But even Jesus says in the Bible, like He doesn't interact with those Pharisees. He doesn't explain Himself to everybody. He just, like, he sits with the weak. He sits with the sinful. He loves them unconditionally, and that is what God wants you to feel, because that's what Jesus is giving to you through His sacrifice to, like, save us from our sins and forgive us of our sins in that way. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning about stuff, and I'm still experiencing my own life and trying to, like, go through this transition with my religious beliefs too. And I'm fairly, I wouldn't say new to it, but I'm fairly, like, getting more into it, because it just feels like that's something that's working for me right now. It's just giving me a lot of hope and a lot of, like, I don't know. It gives me a peaceful, calm mind, which is something I'm really really enjoy having. So I'm really glad I get to experience that. I've been through a lot, and I'm gonna go for more stuff, but it's nice to know that this overarching presence of God himself is just watching over me and praising every small step I take towards him, and, you know, being a loving father who is caring for my heart and my soul and my body and everything. Like, that just feels amazing, because to think that the all-powerful, almighty, all-knowing being is watching over you just makes everything 10 times more, you know, safe and awesome, honestly. It feels great, man, to be loved. I could ramble on about this for a long time, actually, so I think if you have any questions in the comments about it, I'll be happy to answer. I'm not all-knowing, but I'm all-seeking, so I'm always seeking something to know about. I'm very curious. I like to do stuff, you know? Get questions answered and get things done. That's always a good motto. Anyway, wow, this is the first time I really talked about something at the end of a video, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I did. I always like this creator. They're very artistic, and I enjoy that about games. So I'm glad I got to play this today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys at the next video, alright? And goodbye.